6 o'clock.
I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Oh, is it? Okay, mine's up. Okay, it's 6 o'clock, and I'm going to be opening October 3rd, Easthampton Licensing Board meeting. Let's now open the meeting, and I have a few things to say before we get in here. I would ask that only one person speak at the time. And when you do, please state your name and your address. And when somebody else is talking, please do not interrupt them so we can hear everything. Okay? Like, shut your phones off. Okay, we got that squared away? All right, leave it up to me, right?
Ray, you need to take that call?
Yeah.
So we're going to start with a special license.
Special license. Okay, in front of me I have a special license request for Our Lady of the Valley Parish. Is there anyone here to speak about that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
My name is Peg Wallace. I'm coordinator of our dinner dance, which is going to be on October 27th, and we're requesting beer and wine license for that evening.
Okay, what time would that be?
6:30 to 10 o'clock.
6:30 to 10.
6:30 to 10 or 10:30?
It should be 10 o'clock. Does it say 10:30 on there? Liar, liar, pencil.
Okay, I didn't say.
Can you amend it to say 10 o'clock?
Yes, we could.
Or I could do it more.
No, we'll amend it. 10 p.m.
I'm sorry about that. It's okay.
This is being held on 27 River Street. Where is that?
33 Adams. Oh, dear.
I think we need to do a new,
No, it's 33 Adams Street. I'm sorry.
that's the church, the parish hall.
The parish
It's
hall.
a parish hall.
Right, right. We'll do a new one, because it doesn't look nice to me.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay.
You have that, Bill?
You can see that. We've seen it.
I've already seen it.
Hey, I'm sure you have this.
Right here.
Yeah.
What is that, sir?
This is a list of the distributors that you
Yes,
okay.
Karen,
All right.
Karen had given me one and
We want to
explained
be sure that we give them out
Yes.
each time we send one.
Yes.
Does you have any discussion on this?
I move that the license be granted to Lady of the Valley for October 27th, 6:30 to 10 p.m. at 33 Adams Street.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're gonna
We're
we're gonna do it over, so don't
Yeah, we're
bother.
gonna
Don't
change
bother
the
signing.
date, the time and everything.
Oh, okay.
No big deal. Thank you.
What about the second part? Is that right? We got 33 Adams on the second.
33, yeah.
This is 33 Adams.
Yeah, we can sign
Sign
that.
that.
Yeah, that's it. You want to continue?
Yeah, 10 o'clock. Yeah. They're gone.
Hopefully, anyway.
And I'll prepare one before the board leaves tonight. The board can sign it tonight.
Rotary Club?
Chuck Connor for Rotary Club of Easthampton. Park and Rec asked us to provide food service and beer and wine for an event they're doing on the 27th as well, noon to 6. Pumpkin Fest, I believe, is their event. So come to Pumpkin Fest before you go to Our Lady of Salve. 8 to 6, 6 to 10.
Well, aren't you the dessert?
I'm judging the pumpkin pie competition.
That was great. Yeah.
You and me both, sister.
So we've done this before. This is our fourth event this year. We've done 3 beer and wine and liquor. So this is beer and wine. I have that.
Oh, you do? Okay. Next time, Karen.
Yeah.
You giving away free beer and wine?
No.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
We've done beer and wine.
Because we'll all get there early.
Yeah.
I move that the
Volunteer,
license
maybe.
be granted to the Rotary Club to be used October 27th from noon to 6 p.m.
I second that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
Put it in the message, Chuck?
Yeah. Sure.
Or if you wanted to pick it up tomorrow.
I'll swing.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Good night. See you.
Yeah.
It's only 2. Just 2.
Okay, the next item is, like I said before, please only one person talking and don't interrupt. That's so we can hear everybody talking, please. Okay, it's to consider requests for an endorsement to seek a legislative overquota license for 2 existing seasonal all-alcohol wrestling licenses. Riff's Joint and Popcorn's North allowed them to obtain an annual all-alcohol restaurant license. Is anyone going to speak on that? As to what you have planned on doing?
Well, excuse me if I may, before we get started.
I'm sorry?
Before we get started, Mr. Chairman, I just wondering, since we've already heard from Riff Joint and Popcorn Noir at our last hearing, I'm not necessarily sure that it's necessary for us to have Riff Joint and Popcorn Noir go back over what they have already discussed with us. Personally, the way I look at it is that since we've already granted them a seasonal all-alcohol license, and the fact that the Commonwealth has provided a mechanism for them to then go after a over quota license, that I'm not sure it's necessary to go over the same ground again. That's my opinion.
I agree with your opinion.
Obviously, we have a crowd here, people who have an opinion. Certainly, if the commission feels like they want to open it up to the public, I certainly wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't think it's necessary, however, to require the 2 applicants. They're not actually applicants, they're actually people who are just looking for an endorsement from our commission to go over what their business plan is, since we know for sure what it is already, since we've already granted them at least 2 licenses.
I'll agree with you.
So, I mean, if you know, this personally, personally. In my opinion, if you want to open it up to the public, I would not have a problem with that, since we do have public here.
Okay, I'd like to open it up to the public, see we have so many people here.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, then I would like to do this in as an orderly manner as we possibly can. So, if you don't mind, I would, Mr. Sullivan, if you don't mind as well, I would take control of the meeting just to call on people and try to make it as orderly as possible.
I would just like to say that my opinion differs from yours because I don't know who is who here and whether they came to listen to the original petitioners. I think we should all hear it again because I don't know what side you're on, but at least you'll hear it tonight because these people are here from Popcorn North and these people are here from Riffs. So I don't care who starts, but if you agree that we should have them present their presentation, I'd like everyone to hear it. That's key.
If that's what you'd like to do, I won't argue with you.
Mr. Sullivan, I agree with you on that part, because last time we were here, we didn't even talk to Popcorn North as to what they were doing.
Well, anyway, I'm not going to argue with that. So, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I think we should just open it up one at a time to each applicant.
Absolutely, one at a time.
I'll be happy to start.
Please do.
So as we've been through many times in previous meetings, we are applying for an endorsement for an over-quota license that would allow us to serve year-round, as opposed to our current seasonal license that does not allow us to serve from January 15th through April 1st. That means 2.5 months out of the year, we cannot serve any alcohol in our establishment. It costs us jobs, it costs us revenue, and it greatly impacts the future of our businesses. Tonight, I think you see here many people, some of which I know have driven 45 minutes to be here. I mean, others are leaders in our community, restaurant owners, bar owners. They're here, and what I believe is overwhelming support for this, for Riffs, for Popcorn Noir. But most importantly, I want to introduce a couple of people to you, because these are the jobs we're talking about. When we talk about the cost of a seasonal license, it is 4 jobs to our business, and I'm sure jobs to your businesses. Tonight I have Tim Carney. He is one of our mixologists, and he's here with his mother, June. His job is on the line if we are not approved and endorsed tonight. Scott Latham, also one of our mixologists. His job is on the line. Danny, where's Danny hiding? Nope, Danny's over here. Danny's job is on the line, yeah? And Samantha Britt, who couldn't be with us because she has to work another job, is also on the line. These are people that live in Easthampton. Tim was born and raised in Easthampton. Scott is a huge part of this town. Danny works in... Yes. Danny works in multiple places and has for a number of years in Easthampton. These are real, hard-working people from our town whose jobs are dependent on tonight's decision. As I look around, I see members of the community who have taken time out of their own businesses to be here, who have left their restaurants to be here, to show you that they care about the decision made tonight, and what I believe is an overwhelming support for our petition. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion from somebody?
I have a question. How many people do you presently employ?
20. I just hired a new one today.
What are your hours of operation?
We are open 7 days a week. We are open from 11 in the morning until 3 every day for lunch. 5:30 until 10 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 5:30 until...
Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. 5:30 to 10 Monday,
Tuesday and
Wednesday.
Yep.
Okay.
We are open 5:30 until late on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, typically about midnight, though sometimes a little later. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, it varies. Sometimes we do private parties in the mornings, but typically we're open from 11 until midnight.
Do you have handicapped accessible bathrooms in your,
No, we do not.
do you have any plans to put in the end?
We have spoken to our architect, Laura Path, as well as the building inspector. It is something that we plan to do in the future. Unfortunately, at this stage, we're a self-financed business, so until we can earn a little more money, we can't really afford to do that, but
Okay,
it is in the plan.
But your recent build-out from one side to the other didn't take into consideration handicap bathrooms?
We did take into consideration that. We did the entire build-out for $25,000. When we priced out adding in a handicap accessible bathroom, it was almost equal to the total build-out. And at that time, because we didn't change the use of the space, we weren't required to by Massachusetts Building Code.
What was that about the building code? I'm sorry.
In order to require to put in a handicap bathroom, you have to have a change of use or change on the building itself. We didn't do that, so it wasn't required. Though we have talked about it and do plan to as soon as we have the money to do it.
Okay, but I'm disabled myself, and I mean, I'm not in a wheelchair or anything, but if I wanted to bring somebody that's in there, is there any type of...
Unfortunately, we face the same limitations that a lot of older buildings in Easthampton do, and that it is a challenge. It's a challenge that we are exploring and trying to figure out a way to make that happen. It's a commitment that we made when we made a commitment to the community that we would do everything in our power to make it as accessible as possible. It just takes time.
Okay, I was just curious on that, you know, because...
That's totally fair.
I mean, I have limited abilities, and I'm just speaking for myself, and there's other people that are worse off than I am. That's what I'm just trying to figure out what's, in case somebody says to us, why did you give it to them without not having?
And I totally understand that. I guess I have to raise the question, why is this now being addressed when it should have been a question raised when we first applied for an all-alcohol license?
I believe it was, wasn't it?
I raised it, I think, when you first came. I don't know about the other license, but you know, when you went from seasonal beer and wine to seasonal all alcohol. And you presented a plan that I think the commission members got, that I had seen when I came to the next meeting. And there's something about outdoor patio dining, which, you know, requires certain rules to be followed that the
And
ABCC
all of
has.
those rules, it was inspected by the ABCC, and we've met all of the requirements by them in order to license the establishment.
My only question for you is to follow up on him as me, like, being an example.
Totally understand.
That's, I mean, doesn't have any restrictions on my decision or anything like that. I just wanted to get that out so people know. You know, because some people will say something, you know how people are.
Just one quick point. I have to get my guys back to the restaurant, so I'm gonna send you guys all home and back to work. Thank you. Hold down the fort.
Okay, does anyone else have any more discussion? I got the lady out over there in the purple shirt.
Hi, I'm Elaine Wood, 9 Overlook Drive, Easthampton. I'm here to support both Thrift Joint and Popcorn Noir. I think Easthampton's a destination. I think more people are starting to come here. And I think to not give them 2.5 months of a liquor license, it doesn't make any sense to me. What's that 2.5 months isn't going to hurt anybody because they've already got it for 9 months. And as me, as a non-drinker, I still think they should get it. I don't drink, but I still go to every one of these places that their people are here. And
I think the answer to that is that we're limited by a quota set by the state per population.
right.
However-
But the state also has
however-
over quota.
However, yes, they do.
Yes.
However, we granted them a beer and wine license that they first petitioned for. And subsequent to that, we increased it to an all alcohol license.
Okay.
That's not covered by any quota.
Okay.
So now we're on a different route.
Right. So now this route, people are having issues with, and I don't see the issue with the 2.5 months. It's like, especially when I wasn't here at the last meeting because I had to work, but I heard that when the places were busted for selling alcohol to minors, somebody made the comment that, well, we don't want them to close for one day because it would hurt the business. What do you think 2.5 months is gonna do? I've been a regular there for a year and a half since they opened. I said, I've been to Rift Joints a few times to eat, and I fully support it. And I think it's the right thing to do to help this community. It's been a destination and should stay that way.
Thank you. Anybody else? Lady in the black there?
My name is Abigail Judah, and I'm not a resident of Easthampton.
Abigail, how do you spell your last name?
Oh, it's D-U-D-A.
It's what?
D-U-D-A. Duda.
But not related to anybody.
Exhibiting. I know that name. I looked up a little of the board information. I don't know who's who, but I looked up here.
Okay, thank you.
I'm certain I'm no relation. What I wanted to say is that I'm not actually a resident of Easthampton. I'm in fact a resident of Lawrenceville, Massachusetts. And even here that might be a little out of the way for you folks. It's part of Palmer, which is exit 8 off the turnpike, and it is about 45 minutes to an hour to get to Easthampton. I am so committed to this cause for Popcorn Noir. I'm sorry for Riffs, I'm not familiar with you, so I can't speak for you tonight. Once I get to know you, maybe I'll be back for you too. But I want to speak for Popcorn Noir because I also wrote a letter to your committee supporting their application, because I really feel that what they're doing for this area is important and unique. I am willing to drive 45 minutes to an hour to get here, and I thought of another point that I wanted to raise with you when I was thinking about it. I won't bore you all with my letter. When my cousin from Baltimore was visiting the area, he's maybe 7 years older than me. I'm very young, of course. I wanted to bring him to Popcorn Noir. Now, this was during restaurant week, and you were close to renovations, as you were always trying to upgrade and renovate and improve things. But to this day, I still talk to my cousin about his next visit, because I want to take him, not to Northampton where we ended up, at a very fine restaurant that was very lovely. Where we wanted to go was to Easthampton. I wonder how many times you have people say, the destination I want to bring my out-of-town relatives isn't Springfield, it isn't Northampton, it isn't Worcester or Boston, it's Easthampton, to go to Popcorn Noir. I think that's a really impressive point to make. And he and I still talk about it, and we still plan to come back whenever he's in town. And you know, I brought so many people there because I think it's a really interesting, innovative, and a talking point for your community. And it's been a way for me to actually get to know Easthampton, which I didn't know before. And I'm getting to know some of your other businesses. So thank you for the time to address you, and thank you for reading my letter and recognizing that I sent it, and thank you.
Well, thank you. Anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Cindy Bowe. I live at 15 Briggs Street here in Easthampton, and I live alone. And as a result of Popcorn Noir opening and stuff like that, I think it's really great because I can just walk down the street and I'm with a community of people that I really like and that really like me. I don't even have to go down there and watch a movie, and I'm not a really big drinker. I go down and I actually had a drink last week, and I'm like, okay, I think I might be making this a weekly thing. The drinks are really great, and it's not the kind of drink that I would sit there and have one after another because they just taste good. I mean, I just want to savor the taste of it and just be social. So as a result of Popcorn Noir coming here, it's really changed my life in that I have a place to go because I don't go to bars, I don't hang out in bars, and a lot of the cafes and nothing's open in this town past 6 o'clock, so it's not like I can go hang out at a cafe. So Popcorn Noir is my place to go. That in my community, and Kristen and Tom have really welcomed me, and I just love going there. So I would hate to see anything jeopardize this business because I think it's good for our community. Thanks.
Ray, I'd like to speak to you. I know, I'm behind you, so.
Okay, good. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. My name's Marlise Stoddard, 298 Main Street and 40 Cottage Street, Nash Gallery. I've been in front of many of you, a good 5 meetings or so. I've been endorsing and with the group of people from the community that have done nothing but endorse both of these applications for the last 5 meetings. And it's been delayed, and it's been delayed, and it's been delayed. And nobody has shown up at one meeting, not one meeting, to oppose either of these applications. And they're not even applications, they're just requests to move forward, to give these 2 businesses the exact same rights you've given other establishments in town. No special treatment, no special treatment. However, we keep hearing this one comment. Well, some people in town may not like it. And David Gardner, you can go through the tapes if you want to see who is quoted at every single meeting saying that. And it is not a board member's job to be a mouthpiece for a couple of people that do not show up at meetings. If you want to oppose, if you want to be vocal about your position, you show up at a meeting. And nobody to this date has shown up to oppose this. I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to know that the $11 cucumber infused vodka basil lemongrass cocktail is competing with anyone else. As a matter of fact, people are going to come to town from 45 minutes away to drink one of these and say, you know what? I want a $4 beer. I'm going to the Brass Cat. I'm going to Amy's. I'm going to, wherever. I appreciate Popcorn Noir as my neighbors. I love Riff's, makes the best chop salad. I don't know that I'll ever order a beer there, but I believe that you are due the same rights that everyone else is. And I just hope that you just offer everyone the same rights as everyone else. If you want to change your position on this, do the hard work and change your bylaws. But as far as I'm concerned, you have to treat everyone equally. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I just again inform you that some people in town here who have full liquor licenses got those when they were eligible under the quota system. There's 1 liquor license available for every 1,000 people, and that's the state law. Mm-hmm. Wine and malt, which is beer and wine, can be granted by this board without limitation.
Right.
We did that for both of these places.
Right.
They asked for an all-alcohol license, which could serve liquor. We did that because we could do it. Mm-hmm. But now they want an over quota license.
Which you've done in the past, right?
There's 2 ways of doing that. You could do it with a home rule petition, or you could do it through the legislature. Mm-hmm. Something that we can consider. But I'd like to hear from everybody else too.
Hello, my name is Michael Valley. I'm the Brass Cat in Easthampton. I've been in business 18 years this December. My concern is not pro or con, these 2 fine businesses, but concerns about the process. We purchased our liquor license the traditional way, on the open market. My worries are if this process continues unabated, it devalues my life. If I were to ever want to get out of my business and sell it, my liquor license would soon be worth nothing. Because if you can just come and get a legislative license, for as long as you're in business, there's no reason to purchase mine. And my fear is that this is only a town of 16,000 people. At some point, this has to have a definitive process and a way of happening. Because if it continues unabated, there's just too many licenses and it dilutes everybody's heartbeat.
Can I offer a retort to that?
I could.
I mean, how many restaurants are in town?
Wait a minute,
Since we opened up.
Hold on, please. Hold on, please. No. We're not gonna have a debate here.
Right, no, but I'm
We're not
saying-
gonna, I respect that, that's fine.
My question is with the process.
Mr. Chairman, just,
I don't want to
again,
debate.
what we're saying is that
We're trying-
if people want to make a comment, they raise their hand, state their name for the record, and their address, and that's the way we do it. We're not
That's
gonna have a
exactly
debate
what I
going
said
back and
at the
forth.
beginning of the
Yes,
meeting.
thank
That's
you.
what we're gonna
That's the
do.
way
Well,
we're
I've
doing
said what I
it.
have to say. Continue.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next.
How are you? Casey Douglas, 18 Clifford Street. As a license holder myself and someone who is paid what I believe is to be most for a liquor license in the city, I too am concerned about the value of my license. I've had that license for 8 years. It's generated revenue. I really bought the license to run a business, not to have something that built an equity. I did have to take out a loan for it. I did have to mortgage my house, put a lien against my house for that license. So, with that being said, there is a certain value. That value has gone down over the last few years. I think Pizza House bought one for less. The Zoe's license sold for less. Northampton just sold a license for $150,000. But let's not get our license elevated to such a point where they have more value than they should. It should be supply and demand. If the public is going to support any business, they should be open for business. Now, I understand that Mike's concerned about the value of his license and his business. I can tell you that his business is more valuable than his license. And that, you know, his building is... What's that? All right, but it's just...
Sorry again.
It's the opportunity to run a business. And, you know, I have been fortunate enough to get an over-quota license, and I stated when Art Bar was looking for their license, is that unless you set parameters, it's very hard to shut that door because it looks like favoritism. I was able to walk through that door, and for that door to suddenly shut does not bode well for the image of what the system is. I will agree to you that it's not a good system or a perfect system. It's the system that you're dealing with, and it's hard to shut that door down. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, Casey, we did give you a legislative license. What have you done for your using it yet? Have you done anything, any construction or?
No, we don't have complete access to the building. We still have a tenant in that location.
So when do you plan on using it? Because we have other, the reason why we have other legislative licenses that are out that aren't being used too.
That is correct.
Yeah.
When I came to you, I believe it was March, I told you that I had an offer on the building.
Right.
That I told you that there was a tenant in that building that has a lease to the end of the year. So I'm right on track with where I'm supposed to be. I have a tenant in that building. When they vacate December 31st, then we'll have the opportunity to have full access to the building.
Oh, okay.
To do our project. So we're right on schedule. We're doing exactly like we've stated from the day one.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Just a question.
I'm filling you in.
Because I know you said you were going to do it, but I personally haven't seen anything done on it.
Oh, I understand. Things take time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, do we have anyone else? Jeff, right?
Yes, thank you. Jeff Cahill, I live on Ward Avenue, Easthampton. We've owned Riff's Joint now for almost 3 years. We're actually moving our catering business into town from Northampton, trying to, make Easthampton our home base. I understand everybody's concern. We've tried to get a license the old-fashioned way. We were here in January trying to get the license that was available, and we're denied. It was given to a business that wasn't even open in town. So we had to seek other ways of getting a license. We had plans all along to build a bar adjacent to our restaurant to expand. Naturally, we need the full year-round license to have a viable bar. Which is, we're about 3 weeks away from opening. As far as this legislative license procedure, though, I just want to let the board know what other towns in Massachusetts have been doing. I have some statistics from other towns like Wareham. Since July of 2010, has added 8 legislative licenses. Somerville just in September added 10. Saugus added 2 in August, and Brookline added 11 in August. So the state sees this as a viable procedure. Other towns see this as a viable procedure. I think the towns are seeing it more about tax revenue, building up the economy since the economy's been so bad. and giving their small businesses a chance to succeed, which is really all we're going for. And we're not asking for special treatment. If Brass Cat wants to sell me their license tonight, I'll buy it. But I don't think they're not offering it up, right? And the other license that was given for no charge to the Glory of India, I would like to got that license too, but we didn't. So this is the only way we can go now.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. If you can't get his license, why didn't you get the one from the Cellar Bar? That was up for sale.
It was not a
I would never do that. I'm not in the That was never on the open
That was
market.
that was transferred to, yeah, well,
From a
transferred
tenant. It was transferred to a tenant that was already in the building. That's not a viable, that's not a viable comparison.
for sale.
As a point of order, I'd like to point out that we are talking about two separate applications for endorsement from our board. So I just don't want to confuse the, I don't mind, you know, I personally, you know, if we're going to have a little bit of back and forth, okay? But we're talking with Riffs, we're talking with Popcorn Noir, and they're going to be two separate things to be voted on. So I just want to be clear that, you know, I mean, we are talking about the same thing, but we're talking about two different applications. So I just, as a point of order, I'd like that to be noted.
Except that, that's what I said.
many employees do you have?
Just talk one thing at a time.
How many employees? We got about 35 employees.
35. And they all work down at Riffs now, or does some work in Northampton at the caterers?
They work wherever we need them to work.
Okay, how many do you have at Riffs in Easthampton?
Okay, wait a minute. I need to interrupt. I'm sorry, but it seems to me that in order to do this in a proper fashion, as far as, you know, rules of order are concerned, is that we need to deal with one issue, vote on it, and then move on to the next issue.
Well, before I can vote on it, I know how many employees they have. I know they don't have handicap.
Yeah, but the fact that Popcorn Noir is asking for an endorsement from the licensing commission for an over-quota license has nothing to do with Riffs asking for
That would come if we have an application in front of us. We don't have an application.
No, we have two requests, formal requests from both people.
So you're
not answering the question.
Well, no, but when you were recognized, were you asking a question or what was? What was your?
Okay, wait.
We're talking about public comment, but
So
now you're
never mind the argument
you're
you're
asking
asking for.
specific questions
So
about their establishment.
Okay, I'm probably wrong at it this time. So you endorse their getting it?
Well, listen, we're not ready to that. We still have people.
No, I mean, no. Well, what, Mr. Cahill, I'm confused. What were your comments directed at?
My comments were directed to you, and they were telling you that other towns in the state have had many,
Okay, but
many
we're
licenses
talking
added.
first right now about Popcorn
No,
Noir,
we're
right?
talking about both of us combined. We're
No.
No, I don't. No, and I agree that the issues are sort of intermeshed. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. And I think that the idea that Mr. Cahill is bringing up those issues that other municipalities have endorsed having over-quota licenses is fine. But I think that at this time maybe we should concentrate on one application at a time. It's fine for them to pipe in on the subject as a whole, but I think that at this time, maybe asking them specifics about their establishment is premature. That's all I'm saying.
That will talk.
Okay.
When the application comes in front of us. Lynn, please, go ahead.
Elaine.
I'm sorry?
Elaine.
Elaine.
I keep hearing the handicap accessibility. Are all bars in Easthampton handicap accessible?
Our rules and regulations require that establishments.
Are all bars in Easthampton handicap accessible? Is Art Bar handicap accessible?
You want me to tell you when our rules were adopted?
Everything is handicap accessible. And are all businesses handicap accessible?
Well,
If you
I can
stand up,
say
I'm
no
just
on
curious,
that.
because I've had 3 knee surgeries. I've been on crutches for a better part of a year and a half, and I consider myself.
well, when rules and regulations and laws are passed, certain places are grandfathered in. They don't have to take...
And isn't this one of the places that's grandfathered in, this
No.
building?
No.
Okay, let me explain everything right here. I was just involved was in contact with Heather from Spiffy's. They're the one that did this thing in town. Okay, and Jim Staples, who owns JBS Professional Service. He deals with liquor laws, rules and regulations. We are going to have both of those people. We tried at the November meeting, but Jim's not going to be available. So when the December meeting, they will be right here. We're going to talk an establishment, rules, regulations, and bylaws. So,
But shouldn't this have been done before all this was going on? This is what, the 5th meeting that they've had? I'm just curious as to why, I know that that building is older than, it's not a new building.
right.
And I know that there are issues. I mean, I was going through a divorce with crutches, and the Worcester Courthouse isn't even handicap accessible.
Right.
So, you know, things happen. I had to like crawl up the stairs on my crutches. So I'm saying that they are going to try their best to make it handicap accessible.
Right.
And I think you should give them a chance.
Mr. Chairman, can I just interject?
Sure.
Sorry, ma'am, are you done?
Yes.
I don't want to jump in on you. Can you answer one question for me and maybe for everyone that's here? Who issues building permits in town?
Building inspector. Thank you.
Not asking you.
Oh, sorry.
Who issues building permits in town?
The building department.
Right. And who's in charge of deciding whether or not a building or an establishment meets the applicable building codes?
That's the building department.
Thank you.
My only question when I ask is when to follow up on bills. It was just a question. It wasn't, yes, you're gonna get the license, no, you're not. It was just a question. Sir?
James Narvis, 4 Concord Drive. I have no interest in either of these establishments, but maybe answer the question, how much does this handicap bathroom have to do with the actual license itself? Determining whether you get it or not. Is that an issue?
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Then why is it an issue?
Like I said, excuse me, is Mr. Sullivan brought it up, and I just followed with a question because it was remodeling their business. It has nothing to do with whether we're issued a license, and we're not even issuing the license. All they asked was for our support. So I think we ought to get off that and get right to the main part of why we're all here.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, we have one question back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm Patrick Bruff from 107 Briggs Street. I know that a lot of people don't always like to speak in public, so that may be complicated or tough for some people to raise their hand and say they'd like to talk. You asked for people in support, or you asked for people to come here showing that they're against or in support of this initiative. I'm going to ask 2 questions of the group in order for time, or we'll be here till 10:30 tonight. If you are in favor, if you're here to support Popcorn Noir and their endeavor in this project, could you please raise your hand?
I would say that's the majority.
Okay, I would ask a second question. If you're here to endorse or to support the RIF's joint establishment getting this, please raise your hand. I think everyone is going to say pretty much the same thing I said. That'll help solve going through this room. If you didn't want to raise your hand, don't be afraid. Come on out, talk what you're going to do, or else, like I said, we'll be here until 10 o'clock.
Thank you. I think we needed a... Okay. Now, what we have in front of us, if I remember, is both you establishments are going to ask us for your support. Do you have any paperwork or anything? Or is it just a...
We've submitted our letters for previous meetings. You should have it in your file.
Okay, isn't there? Okay.
That's Popcorn's file.
All right, I'm just wondering if it was here. All right, no, that's it. If it's in here, Karen, it's fine.
Excuse me, I need to leave, but I have a written statement of support for both Rips Joint and Popcorn Noir in the lobby. My name, my address, my signature, it's all right there.
Okay, you want to? Okay.
Put that with...
Put it with it.
Yep.
Okay, maybe we can get this squared away.
So I just have quick questions. Do you know how many letters that you received from community members in support of these endorsements?
Just recently, just these. One from Abigail. That's it. Those three, and then this person is here. So.
Okay, what I gotta say now is probably gonna solve everything. I checked with Boston, and when you go for a legislative license, whether a city or town, you have rules and regulations that you have to go through the licensing board, city council, the mayor, the ABC. The ABC, city council, and the mayor can overrule us. They do not need our support. I would hope that tells everybody that we can either say yes or say no, instead of going through all of this. All you're asking for is our support. We can say no. You can still get it. They can go over us. We don't have that type of power to stop it.
I think, Mr. Chairman, that you're wrong.
Well, I was just talking.
No, please, hold on. He's speaking. Don't interrupt him. Thank you.
Everything starts with a licensing board.
Right.
It has to.
Mr. Chairman, please continue.
I was told that even though the licensing board does not support or deny, they can go over our head. The governor can go over. The senator and rep brings it to the floor, it goes to the governor, he signs it. Yes or no. And then it starts the process all over. It comes back to us, it goes to the ABC, who they can say no, because they govern the liquor licenses, not us. So,
Mr. Chairman, I don't see why we're overcomplicating this, okay? Because we have given both of these establishments liquor licenses. And we are only a board to endorse something or to not endorse something. We are just the first hurdle. They have to go to the city council. They have to go to the mayor. They have to go to their state representative. I mean, whether or not you're right or wrong about whether we endorse or don't endorse, whether or not they can go over our heads. I mean, at this point, we're a figurehead. Okay, we're just here as the first step. And the way I look at it, and the way I looked at it at our last meeting, and I'll reiterate that, is that we gave them a seasonal all-alcohol license. What is the problem with endorsing them having an all-alcohol license? I mean, what do we stand to lose? I understand the arguments about, licenses losing value and all of that, but, at this point, I think we're looking at let the market rule. And I just don't understand why this even needs to be talked about any further.
okay, Jason.
Mr. Chairman,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to offer up a petition or a
over there, so we can
home
see
rule petition.
Hold on.
No.
No. Go on. I just want him to, because he wants to say something, but we're not going to see or hear
No,
it.
I'll wait to hear from you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could be heard for a minute.
Yes, Mr. Morgan.
My name's Morgan Mitchell, former city councilor here in Easthampton. I am the one that started the original overrun petitions with the log cabin and RIFs. Let me make it very clear, Mr. Chair, with all due respect, this board is a very important board. You do start the process. You endorse these applications, they then go to the city council. The city council must approve these applications, then they go to the mayor's office. He must approve the application. If there is a veto anywhere along the line, the application dies at that point. You don't vote for it today, you in fact kill those applications today. Any other steps you take kills these applications today. I heard a very disturbing word here, which is home rule. This law was established in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts exactly for what these two applicants are asking for today, which is the ability to have liquor licenses above the quota of the community. The gentleman from Riffs mentioned all the communities in Eastern Mass and several in Central Mass that have gone above and below, above their quotas. To add anything else, to add a home rule petition, to add anything to dilute what these two individuals are doing now is nothing more than a pure block of these individuals' rights. I commend Casey for the two avenues that he went. I commend these individuals for doing that. I would ask the board to look back at past practices, the past councils. The mayor has made it very clear in the past few applicants that he would not deny anything that was approved by the city council and his board. I would ask that Mr. Duda make the motion to grant these, that the chair step down and second these, because it is obvious that one individual is looking to block it. And I would
Take exception to that remark, Mr. Mitchell. I take exception to that remark.
I apologize if you do.
Yeah.
But I heard home rule and that is a block. So I would ask the gentleman to follow the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And in good conscience, since you have granted these individuals 9 months, you found them worthy of being applicants. The ABC has approved these. They found them worthy. Anything less, I would question. I thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
I'm going to submit to the board a petition that if it's successful, I'll read this to you. This is upon the recommendation, of the Easthampton Licensing Board. This is a petition similar to what Northampton has done and other communities have done to avoid over-quota licenses, but to get you what you want. If we can get the City Council to vote on this in the affirmative, what it will do is that we say the City Council and Licensing Board of the City of Easthampton wishes to continue to encourage the growth and stability of the hospitality industry in Easthampton. And there are 2 seasonal all-alcohol licenses in Easthampton that experience a hardship, decline in business and marketability during the months of January and February, possibly March, of every year due to their seasonal status. The City of Easthampton is over quota for pouring licenses established in Section 17 of the Chapter 38 of the Mass General Laws. Mr. Mitchell, what I go by.
I take offense to that being directed and singled out, Mr. Sullivan.
It's noted. The City of Easthampton would like to retain any issued annual or seasonal all alcohol and wine and malt licenses in the event that the license is turned in or revoked, so that the license may be reissued to another viable business upon the local licensing board and the ABCC Commission approval. And special legislation is necessary to allow the City of Easthampton to convert the 2 current seasonal all-alcohol licenses to annual all-alcohol licenses and allow the City of Easthampton to retain all issued annual and seasonal all-alcohol and wine and malt licenses to ensure the economic vitality and stability of the City of Easthampton. Now therefore be it ordered that the mayor is authorized and directed to seek special legislation as follows. An act authorizing the City of Easthampton to retain any issued annual or seasonal license in the event of a license revocation or forfeiture, and the City of Easthampton may convert the 2 current issued seasonal all-alcohol licenses for the sale of all alcohol beverages to be drunk on the premises to annual all-alcohol licenses. Be enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives and General Court assembled and by the authority of the same as follows. Notwithstanding Section 17 of Chapter 138 of the General Laws, the licensing authority of the City of Easthampton may convert the 2 currently issued seasonal all-alcohol general on-premises club, restaurant licenses. Any such license shall be subject to all the provisions of said Chapter 138 except Section 17. Applicants for conversion of a seasonal all-alcohol license for the same premises and location shall not be required to notify abutters as required by Section 15A of Chapter 138. The licensing authority shall not approve the transfer of the license to any other person, organization, corporation, or change of location of the license, failure to use and or operate the license of 12 consecutive months, may result in a license commission hearing and the license reverting back to the city for reissuance, which means that if it's granted, you must at least be in business for 1 year without selling or changing the ownership or corporation. Section 2. The two licenses converted by Section 1 of this Act shall be subject to an original application fee of $15,000, more than the annual fee for existing all-alcohol beverage license in the city of Easthampton. The original application fee of $15,000 is payable in $3,000 installments for 5 years at the time of the renewal until the fee is paid off. This helps keep the value of people who have paid their fair share, because $3,000 is a fair price. In 2003, the city of Northampton charged $1,000.
Keep reading, and then get to your point.
The license currently issued in the city of Easthampton, if revoked or no longer in use, may be granted by the licensing authority to new applicants in order that their applications are received. In other words, this will give us 2 full additional licenses, full licenses, but there's an onus on the owners to at least be in business for 1 year without transferring license, and to have a full one. And after, if the $15,000 is paid before 5 years, that's also acceptable. But you have a full license.
I have a quick question on that, just to make sure that I understand and everyone else in the room.
Mr. Chairman, do you recognize?
Go ahead, speak.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No,
Just want to check and make sure that I'm clear on what that is. You're saying that if we each pay $15,000 to the city of Easthampton, that you will endorse our request for an over-quota license?
It's not an over-quota license.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Overrule petition, which is, gets us out of the over-quota license.
I understand that. Now, the second question would be, will that $15,000 be imposed on any other license
I hope we
holders
never
that
have
have been
to do
passed
it again.
this year?
I hope we never have to do it again.
That doesn't answer the question, in your opinion.
Yes.
No, because-
For example,
because in
Casey
two-
Douglas, who's here tonight, will that $15,000 be imposed on him for the license that was
No,
granted?
no, these are for your...
Only for our businesses.
Your 2 seasonal licenses, okay? In 2003, in Northampton, when they did it, it was $1,000 a year for 5 years. In 2007, as you gave us the paper, you saw that it went to $10,000, okay? $15,000 in 2012 is a fair price.
This board has granted 5 over-quota licenses in the last few years. I have to raise a question, why now have you decided to put a price tag of $15,000 on it? Not the last application that was presented before you, or the 4 previous to
I
that?
have never been, the only over-quota license I was in favor of was a log cabin, and I haven't.
But at no point have you raised this particular...
No, but it's a way to take
Mr.
care
Chairman?
of the 2 seasonal licenses that you are asking to...
It's not the only way.
Do we need to field any more questions from the audience?
I don't think we do. In case you got one more, and then...
I'd just like to spell out, of that $3,000 a year, is a portion of that the already assessed fee that we pay annually?
No, it's an additional...
No, it's an additional fee? Okay.
And that would only be imposed upon us, the other
It's
license?
it only affects the 2 seasonal licenses presently in existence, and for the reason that you suffer hardships when you're not able to serve.
$15,000 is a pretty big hardship.
Yeah, but it's...
Spread out over 5 years.
Yeah. No, it's $3,000 a year for 5 years. It's $15,000. Northampton just paid $10,000 in 2007.
I'd like to go on the record as saying I don't believe that that is a reasonable petition put forward.
Well, the other commissioners and I can discuss it.
That's totally fair.
But I
I
mean,
just want to
this
be
is-
on record as to where I stand personally as a business owner, that is an unreasonable burden for a new business, only 1 year open, to assume.
Mr. Chairman, I have a few questions of point of order. At this point, we have 2 different applications in front of us. And I guess it would be my opinion that we would have to have 2 separate votes as far as what the board, since this isn't necessarily anything we're approving, it's something approving, this is something we're endorsing. But it seems to me that it's something that we would have to have 2 separate votes upon.
Thank you, Jason.
If that's the case, and I believe we've heard from many people from the audience, if that's the case, and at this point, I'd be willing to make a motion that we approve, or endorse, I should say, the application of Popcorn Noir for a all-alcohol full license. That's in a motion.
Okay, past practice of this board is they've given out 5 legislative licenses, from what I understand. I'm going to second your motion on that.
Okay.
That we...
All in favor?
Can we have a little discussion?
We can have
on the
discussion,
motion?
we sure can. We can have plenty of discussion. Discussion on the motion.
So that would, in effect, negate this proposal to have a home rule petition?
Already been negated.
Yeah, we sure would, because we have, I mean, let me ask you a question. In every town in Massachusetts, is there a mechanism in place to get an over-quota license? Yes, there is. There is, and why are we any different? I mean, I understand the idea of the value of a license, but, you know, we also have to look at the value of commerce in town. And the mechanism is in place.
So then, are you saying then that anybody, if Silver Spoon comes in next month and asks for a liquor license, that we grant them one?
If they go through the proper motions and we are, do they already have a liquor license?
Silver Spoon? When was the last time you were in there?
I had toast there last time. No, they don't. But these two do. They have liquor licenses. Okay? So I think that that's not a very good correlation.
Well, I think that the board was very gracious in granting them an all-alcohol from a seasonal beer and wine.
You think we were gracious?
Yes, because no one had ever had an all-alcohol
I think that's
license
a little
seasonal
insulting.
before. No, they never had one.
Okay.
Okay, let me just say one thing. For the people that don't know, I was an investigator with the Alcohol Beverage Control. I was involved in every city in town, from Williamstown to Plymouth, Provincetown to Martha's Vineyard. They all have seasonal licenses. I have heard nothing but complaints from cities, towns, licensing board, establishments on how the system is. There is nothing we can do to stop it unless we go to our senator and our rep and have change the law.
Or go through the mechanism that we've already set in place, that we all understand is in place. We've got two people, two establishments with seasonal all-alcohol licenses that are going through the process, that we've given them those licenses. That was our decision. Now, they're just looking for our endorsement so that they can go to the city council, then go to the mayor, and then go to their state senator, and state representative. And you know what? Maybe their state representative says, no, I don't think you deserve it. So, I mean, there's still a process in place here. So, that's not our process.
That's correct.
That's why I'm saying is that your example of the Silver Spoon, I think, doesn't fly, because I can't go to the Silver Spoon right now and get a beer. But you know what? I can go to Popcorn Noir and get a beer. I can go to Riffs and get a beer. You know? And so it's a different story. So I think it's a little unfounded to say that, well, geez, it's open anyway. Belanger's Plumbing and Heating. You know, maybe I go for it. You know?
All right. All right.
So I made a motion.
It was seconded.
It was seconded.
It was seconded, and this was for Popcorn Noir.
And I'm going to make a motion for Riffs to approve.
Well, we need to finish Popcorn Noir.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought we already did.
No, we didn't. We had discussion, I believe. Can you agree that discussion is ended, or do you want more discussion?
No, I plan to vote against the motion because I think the right way to go is upon a home rule petition that I've offered up to them.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2-1, motion carries. Karen, could you please make it explicit for the record?
I don't think there was a call for the nays.
No, there wasn't. Make it explicit that Mr. Sullivan was
I'm voting nay.
voted
Got it,
nay.
and I have that
Thank
you're
you.
voting against because
Yep.
the right way.
No, I'm sorry.
I feel that the home rule petition was the proper way to go.
Right.
Okay.
I'll also make a motion that we endorse the application for Riffs Joint for an over quota license.
I second that.
All in favor? I'm
we have a
sorry,
little
discussion. Sorry, discussion.
I plan to vote against that because I think the proper way to proceed in this case is with a home rule petition that I presented to the licensing board for consideration.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
2-1 motion carries.
Bring out champagne. Not here.
I would.
No, not now.
I didn't have it. I didn't have it.
I don't have that.
I didn't, and I could do anything I want, whenever I want. And that's what he was saying, the home rule will give you something about, I think other licenses. I'm not sure yours.
Excuse me. We're not done. We're going to be done soon because I'm
Okay,
Karen, do we need to do any new
We
business?
just can't move on anything.
Okay, good. Approval of minutes, I make a motion that we approve the minutes of September 5th. Yes, we do that. I want it.
So it has,
I make a motion that
Hey, can we play it down, please?
Yes, please.
So the board
Thank
can
you.
hear what we're talking, because we're not done.
I'd like to approve the minutes of September 5th, 2012. That's a motion.
I make a motion that we accept them.
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So, time. Does this work okay?
What, 6 o'clock? Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I thought that trying to do during the day would work for me, but sometimes it's hard for me. So, do you want to do 6 p.m. on
I
the
move
first
that our
Wednesday?
meetings be held first Wednesday of each month, 6 p.m.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, so I have to be the first Wednesday in November.
but the thing, there may be a way
First
to
Wednesday
say,
in November.
Oh, in November.
can we
The
pursue
next
this?
meeting.
Oh,
will be
November.
First Wednesday in November, so I
Override that,
voted
so
to
you
make
may be
meetings
able
the
to stay
first
open
Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m.
for that one time, fee. I mean,
That'll be good.
it'll be
That's basically going
half.
off.
You'll see what your cash flow is, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
I move that we adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.